to be there, but I would have
Here we
loved
go. Here we go, live with.
I don't think I like my lighting.
Well, you can change your lighting as we're live.
As we're live? Shut up. Don't do it then.
We're live.
Got a professional for live.
We're live. What can I tell you? We're live with Rob Smith.
Very good to see you. Thanks for having me on your program.
It's a rough start, Rob, how we started live. But wait, here's the best part of that rough start that everyone just saw.
No, I don't want to know what they just saw.
That would be so typical of us.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Rob doesn't like his lighting. We're talking about 1,000 other things. And it's like the typical Rob and Sarah. Wait, can we do that over? Wait, take two. Okay, so everybody, take two. Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody.
Let's go.
Well, can you see that Rob and I, we're going to act professional like we just met. Hi, Rob. It's nice to meet you.
Very nice to see you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Really nice.
Yeah. So it's not like we haven't known each other for what?
30 years. No, 35 years.
Yeah, I have a birthday tomorrow.
Happy birthday.
You know.
I know how old you are. I know
exactly. Haven't changed a bit. So I just adore Rob Smith. It's my 15-20 minutes right now where I get to have Rob all to myself. And I swear to God, John Solvay, and do not chime in on my 15-20 minutes right now. I'm not going to answer my phone if you're watching.
I busted his.
Not going to answer, John. I know you did. You busted in on us. I let you see. Oops. But Rob Smith is the founder of the Phluid Project, which I do. I stalk you. I admire you. I shout out to the world about you because it's so amazing, your messaging. Tell everyone in your words what the Phluid Project is, because what the Phluid Project began and what it is today is what that to me is what's so amazing, because it has changed too.
Yeah, it's well, to start, it's the merging of my profession, which is retail, as you know, with 30 years in retail, with my passion, which is social justice. And somehow, some way, I managed to figure out a way to merge the two together and to create a company built on values, built on, a mission statement, which is challenging, boundaries and constructs, and do it with humanity. And I think that's what we do. And it started off as the world's first gender-free store that didn't have a boys or girls section. You could, play and try different things, and pretty much something for everybody, but a really positive messaging, like born to love and have hope and be kind, and also conversations for younger folks around gender, and gender as a social construct, and they power versus boy power, girl power, really speaking to a younger generation. And at the same time, the store was the first gender-free store of its kind in the world. It was also a community center where, we had over 250 events in 2 years in this space. And it was,
I think to me, that was one of the, at the time, I thought, to me, that's what hit me the most. And I think different people were touched by different aspects of the store when it stood there. I mean, there were people that were so touched by the clothing itself,
yep.
But from me, I loved the aspect of that you brought community into the store. So many people want to go in and want to shop, but you really wanted people to sure, to shop, that's a livelihood, but you wanted people to have a place to feel at home,
Correct.
and you meant it,
Correct.
you know,
All people.
all people, of course, yes.
And there was a coffee shop in the bleacher seating, and we'd have panels. I have about 5 events a week,
Hmm.
something from, poetry reading to conversations about destigmatizing, sexual issues, or talking about mental health, or talking about the environment and ways that we can impact it. And, really just having robust conversations and celebrations. And, memorials today is the Trans Day of Remembrance. So a year ago on this day, we had a candlelight vigil and read the names
Hmm.
of trans women of color who have died at way too young of an age. So, it was a sacred space to me. It was beautiful and a great way to launch the brand, and a wonderful way for me to meet 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 the community, to build trust with the community, especially folks who are who live on the margins, folks who look at someone like me or like you and have a distrust, like they're trying to capitalize on our existence again. And so my job was to try to employ as many as I could of the folks, from models to staff workers, and just, and build trust and relationship, which I think I did. Yeah.
I think, and I think what happened within the four walls of your business isn't unusual, in that it's expensive to have four walls, to have a flagship store in New York and in an economy. And you made a hard decision to transition the actual physical business.
Yeah.
And I think, you and I've talked about this. It was a hard decision, but you can make a decision to physically change your business, go out of business, physically actually look at a business and say, what am I going to do next? And what I have embraced actually since March with my clients is not say this is the new normal, because
Yeah.
I don't ever want to think this is new or normal. I want to say, what are we doing to adapt?
Yeah.
And long before the pandemic, I think that is so brilliant, because that's what you did.
Yeah.
You said, I'm no longer going to have a physical structure, which is so you, honestly. I mean, it really is like, initially you said, I need a structure. I need to showcase my clothes in a structure. I need to have these events in a building. And then you actually looked at it and said, no, I don't. That actually, I can do it in a different and adapt. And I think at the time it was frustrating and expensive in some business realm, but you did adapt your business differently. And now the Phluid Project retail can be found online, but not just at the Phluid Project. I mean, the other day, I get Google alerts all the time. There's not a morning I don't wake up that I don't get Rob Smith. I am president. I used to be president of the David Cassidy fan club, but, now I'm president of the Rob Smith fan club.
It is it's a little crazy how often Phluid Project pops up in
Phluid Project. I'll tell you, I get a Google alert probably every morning.
Yeah.
And it is crazy. It's amazing. Like my heart just, it's like the Grinch. It grows and grows. Like it is so, I love it. Every morning I'm like, what did he do now? But you're in Target stores. I mean, and I say this when you talk about the message. One of my most favorite t-shirts, as you know, it says, you do you.
Yeah.
I wear it all the time. I say it probably every day. I probably say it to my clients, probably can't stand. I text it to people, and like something will happen with a friend. I'm like, you do you.
Yeah.
I mean, it should be my slogan next to my other Bruce Springsteen slogan, but I say it, I'm like, you do you. It's my go-to, because can't do anyone else.
That's right. Be yourself. Be yourself. You do you.
Yeah. And so it's like, but I noticed the other day Target is carrying that t-shirt, and I've had so many people And I know you ran out of the t-shirt because I had so many people ask me, like, where did you get that t-shirt? I'm like, go to the fluidproject.com. I am not buying it for you. You go. But the other day it came up and Target is selling it. And I'm like, and they're selling it for like $8.99 or something. And I'm like, okay, you're giving it away, Rob. I'm like, I feel like I should buy like 20 of them and just start. I should probably hand them out as Christmas presents to all my clients. Like, maybe I should do that.
I can make 36 for you if you want and just send it to you.
There you go.
That's sell, make money.
But so now the Phluid Project retail is online.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I decided to close the store December 31st. What a lucky person I am to have decided that, to have a retail space on Broadway in Soho, 3,000 square feet with all built on community and engagement.
It's so beautiful. Yeah.
Thank God I just said that.
Wait, I have to know, is anything in that space now?
Nothing right now, no.
Yeah.
I'd like to be back there again in June for a pop-up. Would be really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's do that.
I know. And then I was going to focus on pop-ups and travel around the world and do pop-ups in the country. I was really excited about that. That didn't happen. So it's just amazing how things work. So then I was forced to really, trim down, deal with some of my debt and focus on getting out of debt this year, which I'm almost entirely out of debt right now, which feels really good going into the new year.
Mm-hmm.
The only debt I own is my husband. I just owe my husband. He lent me some money. So it's pretty good owing him money as opposed to like all these other people. And
the interest rate is probably okay.
And the timeline is a little generous.
It's sort of like when we, like my father has a saying that I have more Aprils. I used to in college, you'll appreciate this. I used to always call him by April and to say I'm out of money. I'm like, well, maybe because I was at Crunchies with you. And I'd be like, somehow I was always out of money by April. And as you know, Michigan State used to go to June.
Exactly.
So the interest rate to my father was a lot better. And so even yesterday, my father said something to me like, you had more Aprils than anyone I knew.
That's so funny. Oh my goodness. So, but I think probably a lot of your businesses like Phluid has had to really look at, the direct to consumer business to look at, what does your social media look like? How do you invest time and energy in social? What does the website look like? And things that will be are really good foundations to have as we go into this next year. Because now it's like the things that probably a lot of us, especially older folks, have really kind of struggled with a little bit. Like we're not young, direct to consumer businesses. We're a little more traditional. We like a brick and mortar store that also sells, product online. But now we think we've really learned how to like focus on this and fine tune it. And then we can do the other things we're doing. And then find and be creative and find other sources for revenue, which is what we did, So I launched Get Phluid, which is gender expansive training. So a training program for corporations. And I'm actually going to be doing individual training as well on LinkedIn and LinkedIn Learning, where individuals can get individually certified. And I'm working on that right now. But helping companies get ready for this gender expansive workforce. I've created a consulting leg, an agency that helps companies enter this space, working with Procter and Gamble to, lots of other people I can't talk about just from NDAs, but also.
Can you explain that a little bit more? Because I want people to who do listen to understand, because you and I, and when you and I talk about it, it's so important. There are companies, they don't speak correctly. I mean, that's really, they don't, I talk about this with clients of mine who go and they may be recruiting firms, and they need to be concentrating on the hiring process. There are companies who are in the workforce and how they're looking at someone. And the truth of the matter is now we aren't necessarily sitting across the table anymore. We're sitting in Zoom. So it's even different and more different.
Well, first of all, I encourage everyone to put their pronouns and their Zoom. If you have to just put your
I have not. Yeah, you're right.
and your cursor over your three dots, and you put in your name and then add your pronouns. I think that
Mm-hmm.
is a polite thing to do. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you know how it is. You have young children. Adding pronouns is common, for young people. They do it in college and universities, and lots of times now these young people who identify as gender nonconforming or have pronouns that are different other than he, him, and she, hers binary pronouns, that this is like a way of life for young people. And companies are, so many of them, slow to adapt by adding a third gender marker on a job application. By doing that, it allows the person who's interviewing to be alerted that this person has a pronoun. You can introduce yourself with your pronoun, or now you've been alerted, okay, here's a flag to say, to introduce, use your pronouns, and sure, ask for the others. Also, just going in at companies, we go in and help them out with re-looking at dated policies that are very binary. I mean, just on the call yesterday, and they were talking about parents, or about parenting, and some employee resource group, and they said, yeah, we should get all the moms together. I'm like, how about getting parents together? Just
Mm.
little things like that, and just change a word and it becomes more inclusive. You can look at dress code policies, you can look at um, lots of language that is very dated and probably created in the 70s or 80s or 90s even, and things have changed, and just creating language to be much more inclusive and affirming. And once you do that, you're going to just make room for more people to be successful in your company.
Are school districts still way behind? Do you find?
I think it depends on the school district. I mean, you can go
I
as
mean,
extreme as like Berkeley, which rewrote their entire city policies and language.
Berkeley, California, Berkeley.
California.
Okay.
Like like a policeman.
Because we're in Michigan right now.
Yeah, but policeman became a police person or whatever it is. Yeah, but they eliminated all the gender binary from language.
So I think, I think like there's, we could have a PR conversation here, but I think the work that you're doing there is going to become the most important work you do. And so I definitely want people to understand that the retail component and that vision was so amazing, but it really was barely skimmed the surface of how you think. And that's really why I adore you, because I really love that you're changing how we do business. I mean that from the bottom of my heart, because I think that, I am raising 3 children who use who use their pronouns in their signatures, who are in business, whose friends I notice we're slow to change. You do know how old I am, and I believe in this, and I don't have them in my signature, and I know better.
Yeah.
And it's not because I don't know better, but I'm 55 tomorrow. I'm slow to change. But my kids, and we talk about, who's the future and how we make change, and we make change by me making the change, but it is, who you're speaking to. And, we've got to just keep sort of, I always say, me, shout from the rooftops, keep going.
I like to remind everyone just to give ourselves like a little space to be kind to ourselves, because we're constantly in a state of unlearning and relearning.
Mm-hmm.
Learning. I don't know. This sounds so stupid, but I remember when women had to wear pantyhose and high heels to work. Right. I mean, was it if you were going to wear a skirt, didn't you have to wear pantyhose?
Right. Well, you know my suit Procter and Gamble story. It's always my favorite one.
Tell it again.
Didn't go there, but I know you'll change P&G with.
Right. But it's so interesting. Like, people think the way things are today is the way it's going to be tomorrow, and it's never been that way. We're always evolving and moving forward, and it's just like you just have to consider the fact that things are changing. They will change.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you uncomfortable. Check in with yourself. Why are you uncomfortable? But we wouldn't let women into the senior executive suites, until decades ago, and even then it was limited. And now we're starting to see more and more female CEOs. We're starting to see,
But it's so true when you say that, because even though we see them, there is still issues. And so we move, and then there gets to be a wall, and then we have to move some more. And we certainly are in a turbulent time of Black Lives Matter, and we move, and we hit, some barriers, and we just do have to keep pushing to make changes and educate.
Yes, and educate. And
think,
education comes from ourselves. It's our responsibility to educate ourselves and to spend time. I spent so much, like you and most people, over the summer, was educating ourselves on the history of Black oppression, and understanding it, and really like going, wow. I mean, I watched 13 4 times, I think, and I watched, there's so much rich history. I watched so many Netflix specials and read books, and gosh, even what's that one woman name? I'm mind blanking on her book, but it was really about how as white folks we can understand that racism is embedded into our society. Even this thing that I really learned, which is race is a construct. Race is a construct. Being Caucasian or BIPOC, is a construct. In the 20s, groups of people would go to the Supreme Court to be considered to be white. So you start to understand that it's not like we're born into this like space. I mean, I have so much in me as a mutt American, part indigenous,
right,
part,
and you do, right.
Yeah, and yet, so this whole idea of someone being white or not white, and it's first we have to understand that, yes, Black Lives Matter, yes, Indigenous lives matter, yes, female lives matter, yes.
I'm always amazed, like, and I get in trouble when I say this, so I know I'm gonna get in trouble today. All lives matter. We all, and I mean it in the sense, I don't mean it, I mean it in the sense that we just said it, be kind. We all matter. And what I mean by that is, when we educate ourselves and we listen to one another, we all do matter. We're not listening to one another.
Yeah.
And
you're drawing me into like the essence of what Phluid is, the bigger essence, which is, we live in a binary world where, I like to say that we're not strictly male or female. We're not strictly Black or white. We're not strictly gay or straight, Republican, Democrat,
right,
atheist or religious, that these ideas of these binary constructs that we get so comfortable in limit ourselves. We limit ourselves. And we go into these little spaces, say these are our beliefs,
right?
Anything else in between doesn't exist.
Well, you and we've talked about that. I think we talked. I mean, I got myself into trouble on social media. I know better, but I did in a political way after a debate where I know better as a publicist. But I did one of those posts after a debate but I did say Republicans and Democrats, we need to come together. I didn't say just one or the other, but it was like a coming together. We need to come together against hate. And, I had people attack me. And, I didn't appreciate that, because I really tried to take two groups and a political, and I realized really quickly, okay, publicist, better than. But to me, you can see when tensions are high, and and then my kids get really pissy at me if I say all lives matter, and because it's politically incorrect. But what I mean by it is that this is the millennials in them, what I mean by it is that we've grown. I think sometimes we swing that pendulum so far over, that I look at the philosophies of the Phluid Project to say, let's look at who's in front of you. Let's learn from the person in front of you. Who's the person in front of you? And I think that, one of the things that you've taught me is who's in front of you. Like when I first met you, you weren't the person you are today at all. You weren't. You're, I maybe wasn't the person either, but there were things about you that were very different than they are today. And so the person, you have to look at the person in front of you and learn from the person in front of you, and look, listen, educate yourself, hear them. And I think that's what Phluid has taught me. That's where I've tried to grow from what the Phluid project has been about for me. What you have taught me, what I've seen you take or want to take into teaching businesses. To celebrate differences is amazing. I could care less. I always say I could care less if you're a Republican, Democrat. I don't care what you are, but we have to celebrate and be kind.
We have to be kind of, and I think the work is, you're right. We have to be kind. That's our number one selling graphic is be kind. It's just so universal.
Well, that was the first mask I posted when I got my mask, but it was interesting. I know I didn't tell you this. I did an interview not too long ago. Someone reached out to me they were getting into being in PR, a college student, and they said, I'd like some advice. What's the best advice you can give me in the industry? I said, be kind. Yeah. That's it. And she was like, kind of like waiting for, get this internship or do this. And I, that was my advice.
Be kind. And
be kind.
And also,
I said everything else.
Integrity is everything too. Your integrity matters, and it takes a long time to build integrity. Hard decisions, unpopular decisions.
I wanted to talk to you about, I was kind of excited. I definitely don't want to talk politics, but I will say you and I agree on politics. So that's the fun part, but I definitely wanted to talk to you about that. I know, so it'll be a fun conversation, but I'm excited about this year in politics because, and I'll get it all wrong. So
we're not talking about politics.
No, but is it the
other things
first transgender legislate? The statistics on the LGBTQ plus community this year overall in the country, the statistic that they gave sort of the morning after, I can say that it's not the morning after. We're like, 12, 13 days morning after at this point. But at some point, I don't even know because I just flip all day long listening to politics. But there's something like 600 across the country. The statistic itself of the LGBTQ number in politics, it might have been Pete Buttigieg who gave the number. I was like, yes, it was huge.
Well, representation matters, and to have people who look like their constituents showing up in whether it's a state capitol or Congress, it matters. And to have Black queer men, Mondaire Williams and Richie Torres showing up, that's a big deal, And I think that's the richness now, is the intersectionality of folks, to have folks who's female Muslim, to have this intersectionality, that it's not just a white woman who's blonde headed and whatever, this idea of what womanhood is supposed to look like showing up. And now we've got all of this intersectionality and depth, and bringing multiple identities to represent, have a voice.
I think it's just so important to state it though, and I felt like it hadn't been stated before, and maybe it's me or in the last 4 years, not enough has been stated. And I will say that. I believe
Phluid, if you follow Phluid, we
Sure.
did a story with everybody who was elected, or at least as many as we could, both
Yeah.
trans and queer. Yeah.
So you and I are going to talk all day and people will not tune in after a while. So let's get to out of 2020 for a minute.
Yeah.
Because I'll just keep you all day. You know I will. Let's talk 20. You were going to talk 2022. Let's just confess. You were going to skip. You were going to skip like way into the
year. I skipped the wrong year. I skipped 2020. Yeah.
I was thinking, wait, do you not want to go into 2021? Do you know something? I don't know.
It's already in 2022. That's scary.
So I'm going to go to 2021 because I am counting on it being a good year. There'll be a vaccine. Those people will get it. Everybody eventually will get it. I will be back in New York. You and I will be having drinks in New York. You will get to come back to Michigan, where you're originally from. People should know that. You get to see your mom and hang out with your family, who's like adorable in Grosse Pointe.
I can't wait.
You don't want to, it's a gloomy Michigan day. So what can I tell you? But it's,
yeah, it's the holidays and
I know.
I have to be with my family, and
I know.
And I could get emotional right now, but that's,
Oh, trust me. We're all doing what our governor told us in this house. It's just all of us alone this holiday. But, like you, because you do a positive spin on things. My kids are about to get their positive mom spin and be annoyed with me. And we're just going to count our blessings this holiday and,
right.
And do what we have to do. And so tell me about 2021, because I hope it'll be so positive, and you know me, I'll be talking about it. So.
Well, I mean, I'm going to start off. Our campaign for this holiday is be kind and have hope. It's this message. I call it community with an underscore of unity. And it's time to come together as a community and be unified. So it's community with unity underscored. And that's the idea of like what this holiday season represents, because it's not a traditional holiday, but it's time for unification and coming together. And that's a lot to ask for. And so, yeah, our graphics are be kind, which comes in lots of different, from face masks to, scarves and gloves and sweatshirts and t-shirts, and have hope, and even pillows. And we're adding in.
Is everything out now?
It'll be out next week. Yeah.
Next week. Okay.
Thanksgiving. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I want a scarf that says be kind.
Oh, it's so cute. All rainbow colors. It's adorable. Yeah, it's great.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's
okay. Wait, so everybody needs to know, like, it's the best packaging when it comes to.
Yeah, it's paper. It's plasticless. It's only try to not use any plastic if possible. And then we're launching, which is exciting. We're launching this next week at Sephora. Our fragrance is at the fragrance collection at Sephora. So there's 5 scents, and all 5 will be launching at Sephora.com. And hopefully the sales will be good enough that we'll be in the stores next year. So that, knock on wood, does well.
So we should say that you were up for a major fragrance award.
Yeah.
It's a little challenging to beat a Kardashian.
A Jenner and Ariana.
A Jenner and a Jenner. Sorry. You were up against. That's true. You were up against Kylie Jenner.
Kim Kardashian West accepted the award for.
Right. Yeah. So you were up against Kylie Jenner and Ariana Grande.
Yeah.
So let me just say, my friend Rob Smith calls me and says, I'm up for the Fragrance of the Year award. And I am like freaking out. And then I look at, and you didn't tell me who you were up against. And I'm just like going crazy. And then I look and I'm like, okay, he's up against Kylie.
I had the audacity.
And the Kylie team.
The audacity to prepare an acceptance speech, which
I love. Anyway. Of course you did. Damn it.
Well, cool, because
I've seen your mom, and she can be a momager any day.
You're right. You're right. She could. She's a bossy babe. So next year, I'm excited to. So we've got more product going into Target. We've got face masks coming in the first part. Then we've got more Be Kind and Have Hope. Like they've been really embracing our positive messaging in T-shirts and sweatshirts. We'll bring in the Pride collection for the first time, and I'm working on a strategic partnership to be even bigger at Target. Let's see, have product going into Macy's and Hot Topic, and
Is it fun for you to go into Macy's?
it's fun. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
There's a backstory there we can talk about another time.
But I'm really excited because I'm working right now on a special collection for Nordstrom, and a totally sustainable, responsible collection for Nordstrom for fall, which I'm excited about.
Okay.
There's that piece, which is pretty cool too. So some really exciting things happening.
Are you gonna call me?
Huh?
You're gonna call me? Do we get to
I'll call you. I'm gonna need you more than ever.
you know you get the friends and family plan.
But yeah, I'm excited. There's good stuff going on.
It's really great. I mean, so I want everyone to shop thefluidproject.com. Please follow thefluidproject.com. And by the way, if you don't know, it's PHLUID project.com.
Quick quiz. Why is it PH? Do you remember?
I do know
is balance.
Balanced. It's the balance. It's the balance.
Yeah, the balance.
The balance.
Fluidity and balance. Yeah.
The fragrances are amazing. Actually Marissa bought, I'm trying to remember which balance, one.
Intention, Transcend.
I
love Transcend. Oh
yeah.
my God. Yeah.
For one of her, but I'm okay. I have to have a scarf. I cracked up because a couple of my friends now, like September and October, I was supporting like every local store just alone, I think across the country. My husband was like having my head. He's like, okay, I think.
Yeah.
And so in November, I pretended I was on Lent. Nice Jewish girl on Lent. I was. So I've been like my credit card's been on like Lent control. So I'm off Lent soon.
It is so important to support minority-owned businesses, to support local businesses, especially, I mean, it's so important.
And this is why like I do these, I've had so much fun doing these FaceTime lives and talking with friends. But I say this all the time, like me, I talk to the wall if I could, but I love doing this. I know you love being able to talk your business, but I love being able to talk to the community and make sure, especially right now, people are shopping. If a place has an online presence, which is so important. I've tried to get so many of my businesses online because people shop at midnight, and they tend to go to Amazon. The truth is, like, here's a prime example. Target now carries you online. And so I'm really careful not to say don't shop at Target, because when they're shopping at Target is very good at now about curating different lines and helping businesses. So you have to be really careful in my world about.
Sure.
Don't shop. I don't say don't shop at Amazon, but I do want people to really think about shopping their community, shopping local, and thinking about how they shop and how they shop for people. Before you just head to Amazon, can you shop the toy company in your community? How do you find things? Can you go to the Phluid Project first? But if you join the Phluid Project, you might see it at Target, too, and to support it. And so it's educating the consumer too, basically. Yep. So. Well, I'm excited about.
If anybody wants to, they can sign up for our newsletters. They're really interesting. And then check out our website if you get to. We just updated it. It's more reflective of what the store was.
Yeah.
Less transactional, more community, more conversation. more resources. Yeah.
So I know you have a busy day. You're going to please hug Rod for me. He's the best husband. I want to interview him too. I keep telling you that. We gotta. Who came in?
I've got my dog right here who's been my office mate. This is nice.
Uh,
This is his room. I'm crashing.
You're crashing his room. Well, you know how much I love and adore you. I will be in New York as soon as I get on an airplane, I guess.
I'm betting you'll be here in June. That's my guess. To come see our puppy.
I hope I'll be there before, but I hope I'll be there before because I don't care about not coming to New York in bad weather or winter. I've been known to walk around it with gloves and I can do the winter in New York. I can do New York anytime. You know that. I've been known to say I might leave my husband for New York on any given week. I love you. You know that. Thank you for spending time.
Thank you. Thanks just for everything you do. All the support you don't just and love you give me, but all of your children you love the same, and your own children, your business children.
You're one of them.
You're one of be kind. Keep being kind. You
Be
do
kind.
you.
You do you.
Goodbye. Happy Thanksgiving.
Love you. That's
Great
good.
Yeah.
Pause. What are you doing today? Do you have another?
I am literally stack to stack until 7 o'clock tonight. I don't know when I'm gonna eat lunch. Yikes.
All right, go eat.
All right.
I love you. I do want to do an interview one day with Rod. I find what he does really interesting. So we'll figure it out.
All right.
Love you.
Love you.
Happy
Bye.
Thanksgiving.
You too. Bye.
Bye.